Hey everybody, it's Miss Runkle-Smith. Sorry I can't be with you today. My son has a doctor's appointment. Nothing COVID related, but anyway, he has it this afternoon, so I'm not going to be able to be in class with you. So there's not going to be a Teams meeting, so I decided to make this video to kind of go through everything that I would with you in our Teams meeting. I also wanted to point out that I sent an email to your parent or guardian and also to you guys, to your student accounts, and I've also put the updated late work policy with the penalty on its learning on our overview page. So just read through this and know the late work penalty that's going to be associated with turning in late work too. Okay, so again, you have everything is due the Friday of the week that I've assigned the assignments, but then you have an extra week to turn it in after that due date for a 20% penalty on the work that you did. So that means if an assignment is 20 points and you fully completed it and it's accurate in terms of the information that you give me and the answers that you give for questions, then I would dock 4 points because that's 20% of 20 points. So that would take you down from an A to a B or a 16 out of a 20. If you turn something in and say it's incomplete or not all of the information is accurate and you get a 15 out of 20, then I'm going to dock 4 points and that'll take you down to an 11 out of 20. So you drop from a C to an E. So it's really important that you're doing your work, you're completing it fully, you're making sure you're putting in your best effort and you're turning it in on time so that you're getting the maximum amount of points that you have. So just familiarize yourself with this, make sure you know the late work policy and the penalties. And if you have questions, just go ahead and ask me. The other thing I wanted to point out is this week's work is going to be where the penalty is assessed. So if you still have work to turn in for weeks 8 through 10, that is not going to have the late work penalty assessed on it, but you have to turn it in by this Friday for full credit. After that, I'm not going to accept weeks 8 through 10 because that was last week. Okay, so no penalty, but just make sure you turn it in by this Friday, otherwise I won't take it. Okay, so you're going to go for today's assignment into the resources folder like we usually do, and then you're going to scroll down to week 11. This is day 1, and here's our assignment right here. So you're going to click on that, and then you are going to download it to your computer. Same thing as usual. Open it up. Click Enable Editing. And then this is what you're going to see. So Bio Week 11, Day 1. We're going to reiterate and kind of review cellular respiration and photosynthesis. And then we're going to talk a little bit this week about biosynthesis. And we'll get more, you'll learn more about that in a little bit. But the first thing you guys are going to do is a Gizmo. So when you click on Explore Learning, you should have your login information. Since I won't be in class, I won't be able to get you your login information necessarily right away, but I will still be checking email. I will still be checking the It's Learning messages. So if you don't have it, just send me a message, and then as soon as I get it or as soon as I'm able to, I can respond with your login information. So if you can't remember and I don't respond to you right away, skip this portion and go on to the next part activity 2, so the biomass video. So then answer the question, and then you have a short video to watch. You're going to pause it at 56 seconds, and anyway, I'll talk about that in just a minute. But if you're able to get to the Gizmo, you have some questions to answer. So prior knowledge questions before you start the Gizmo. What does a plant need to survive and grow? What does an animal need to survive and grow? And how do animals and plants depend on one another? And then you're going to do this warm-up once you open up the Gizmo to familiarize yourself with the different tabs and to see what's available for you to manipulate and kind of mess around with. All right, so let me go there. You're going to hit Control and then left click. Then you need to log in. And you guys will go into B3. Okay, so the cell energy cycle Gizmo is what you guys are going to be using. You're going to launch that, and this is what it looks like. If you don't like the clicking, so when you move things around, it makes like a clicking noise. I know with the photosynthesis one, you heard the bubbles from the plant and everything. You can click Tools and then click on the sound, and it'll turn off that clicking if that's annoying you. Okay, so one of the first things you have to answer for the warm-up is what is the chemical formula for oxygen Glucose is a simple sugar. What's the chemical formula for glucose? So that is all right here. These are the chemical formulas. So oxygen's chemical formula, O2. Glucose chemical formula, C6H12O6, so on and so forth. So you're going to answer those questions for the warm-up. And then for part A, it says select the cycle tab up at the top. So the cycle tab is right here. So you see photosynthesis and you see cellular respiration, and then you have sun right here too. So what you're going to do is just follow the steps. So first, form a hypothesis. How do you think photosynthesis is related to cellular respiration? Make sure you're answering incomplete sentences. Make predictions. Which molecule do you expect to find at the top of the diagram? So when you see the top of the diagram, what molecules would you expect to find here? And so they're coming out of photosynthesis and going into cellular respiration. Then which molecules would you expect to find at the bottom of the diagram? And remember, when it says explain, you have to tell me why you think that. So don't forget to add that part, otherwise it's half credit for that question. So which of these molecules are coming out of photosynthesis and going into cellular respiration? Which of these molecules are coming out of cellular respiration and are the reactants for photosynthesis? Okay, and so then you just go through, make observations, drag the oxygen, glucose, carbon dioxide, and water into, so you're going to take these and drag them into the diagram, and then compare. How are the inputs, the things going into and out of photosynthesis and cellular respiration, related to one another? Okay, you have some review questions. This is all going to seem pretty redundant, meaning that they're repetitive, but it's important that you understand how photosynthesis and cellular respiration are related, what goes into one, what comes out of the other, so on and so forth. And then you have summarize how respiration and photosynthesis are related, and then in what ways are plants and animals dependent upon each other. And this could be outside of cellular respiration photosynthesis too, but I want you to include those in there. All right, so back to the biomass video. Activity 2, remember, which reactant do you think is responsible for most of a plant's mass? So it's weight. So weight is just mass with gravity, right? And all the plants are here on Earth. So think about the weight. What makes up most of the plant's weight? Is it carbon dioxide or water? And so you're going to be investigating this. So here's the link to the video. So again, hit Control and then left click, and it will open it up to you. And then you're going to pause the video after you watch it at 56 seconds. So it's talking about von Helmont's experiment, and it goes into what he did. And then you're going to make some calculations. So in order to find out what the weight of the tree was, so he ran his experiment for about 5 years. And so in order to find out the weight of the tree, you take 169.3 minus 5. And that'll give you how many, the weight, change in weight over the 5 years of the tree. And then the weight of the dried soil. So you take 200 pounds and subtract 199.14. And remember, there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. And that'll tell you how many pounds difference or ounces in the weight of dried soil. So really, this, I can just give it to you. This is 2 ounces. There's a 2 ounce difference in the weight of the dried soil. So all you have to do is find out how many pounds different the weight of the tree is. So, okay, and then you have to explain whether or not you think the von Helmont, based on his experiment, was justified in assuming that most of the weight comes from the water of the plant, or the water going into the plant. So the weight of the plant comes from water is what he said. So is it fair for him to make that conclusion based on his experiment, and explain why or why not? So think about the reactants, or what's going into the process of photosynthesis. And then you're going to watch the rest of the video. So you're going to see what Joseph Priestley was another scientist who did another experiment with a rat and a plant and a bell jar. And then you're going to explain, just watch the rest of it, and then how does the plant get or make these molecules? So how does it get or make water? How does it get or make CO2? And how does it get or make energy? All right, so just do a brief explanation there. There's nothing else that you have to do for this. And I will warn you that the video is a little bit juvenile. I think it's mostly made for like middle schoolers, but it does a good job representing these two experiments and kind of giving you an idea of what's going on and where the plant's weight is coming from. We're going to do more with talking about this and biosynthesis next class, but just make sure that you're working on this and you're trying to turn everything in on time so you get your full complete points. Once you're done, you can answer the assignment and turn it in, but you do have until Friday to get this in for full credit. And if you don't get it in by midnight on Friday, you have until next, well, because of Thanksgiving, you have until next Monday. But I'll explain more about that on Wednesday. Okay, so reach out to me if you have questions. Like I said, I'm going to be checking my email. I'll be checking the It's Learning. I get a notification when they pop up. And if you need help, if you need your Gizmo login, just reach out to me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right, I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you in class on Wednesday.